Today on Squally Heifer Adventures, we're going to make ourselves some Paracord soft shackles. I haven't seen them made this way. What we're going to do is we're actually going to make them for the flags that we have on our sailboat. We're going to make them all exactly the same. It's basically just a loop with a knot in it. You can make a noose over the end. You slide it over the diamond knot, and then tighten it down to whatever pole or stanchion that you're using, and there you go. You actually have a connection point with no metal and no noise. It will not come apart once you have that on, and as you can see, it's doubled up under this format, which makes it twice as strong as a single line. So to get going here, what we're going to have is, this is the first one we made. This is the length that we came up with. And what we want to do is match it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a measurement here. We're just going to slide them right next to each other. And there it is. And we have to, I would say just about double it up, because we want to give ourselves enough room to actually make the knot and have a tag end on the back side. So now we sit there, we'll take our measurement, we'll have enough room to make the knot, and then we'll have enough to finish off with that soft shackle. Now, this is a diamond knot followed by a brummel lock followed by a locked whip stitching. So it is not going to come apart. So to start with the diamond knot, you're going to actually put it in the palm of your hand, between your fingers, and you will actually make a loop over one side and then bring up the other through it. Bring the left side around and under the tag end and go through the loop that you just pulled up. So at this point, you now have the basis of the diamond knot, and as you look at it, it basically looks like two X's in a figure 8 position. So that's what you should be looking at right there. Now, as you get this going, what you want to do now is make sure you have this look, and you can see the diamond sitting right there in the center if you look right at it closely. So take one end, wrap it around the loop and right through the center and bring it up. And you're going to do the exact same for the other side. Bring it around on the outside, through the loop, right down that center where that diamond is, and now you should have both tag ends right in the center of your knot. And that is the basis of your diamond knot. Now what you want to do is just kind of massage it around and start working it. So as you want to work it around slowly and surely, do not tighten it completely down yet. Kind of get it to where you want it. And since we're going to be matching, what we have to do is make sure that our knot is going to sit exactly where our other soft shackle is going to fit. So what we're going to do is we're just going to massage it around a bit. Keep looking at it. And get those knots almost, not quite, but they need to be even. So if you have to take one end of the line and push it around, just start on one tag end, push it down, move it around, and just do one line at a time. So there we're following that one around. And what we got to do is we're just going to keep doing that until we put a little bit more line in that loop. And there it is. We just made that loop that much bigger now. Now we can make another test, and our knots are ending up right there, and our loops are exactly the same size for that soft shackle. So now what we want to do is maintain that position, and we want to start tightening that knot. Go ahead and look at it, see where everything's at. Look at the pattern now. If you'll notice that you have an upper one going over the top one. the lower one going over the top one, the lower one going over the top one, and you have that nice pattern, and it'll, you know that you've got the knot set correctly. So now it is just a matter of tensioning it. At this point, the 550 paracord really lets you pull on both sides and massage it with your thumbs. So you can actually be pulling on both sides and tightening that knot as you go. You won't be able to get a diamond knot to tighten like that for everything, but on this particular one, it works very good. I'm going for a extremely tight there with the channel locks, and you cinch that all the way down, it's not going to go anywhere. It gets hard as a rock. One last time, let's go ahead and double check. Look at that. Knot is exactly where it needs to be. Now, you could leave the diamond knot just like this and you have yourself a soft shackle. Some people actually do that. I just don't like the two tag ends sitting out on the end. Some people will cut them and literally just burn them and push down right there. But the thing about the diamond knot is if it collapses in on itself, then you've just lost the whole knot. You have to have the tag in to make the diamond knot work properly. So, one of the things that I want to do to make sure that the tag ends never come out on me is I actually like to make both lines into one. So I'm just going to clean this up a bit just so I can actually work with it some more. You don't have to do this, but you can see how the core and the outer sheathing kind of got a little bit out of whack there as we were tightening that knot. But we're going to go ahead and clean that up. So at this point, here's where my soft shackle gets different than everybody else's. I do a brummel lock and then a locked whip stitching to finish off my soft shackle. Now, for a brummel lock, you're going to need a fid. This fid is actually going to be really good to actually sit and go through the 550 paracord. Now, remember, on a brummel lock, each side has to go in to the other side of the rope. So we're going to pick one side right now, and we're just going to go ahead and push that through. So work that fid all the way through it, and then you're going to take the other tag end, put it in your fid. I believe I'm using a 1/8 inch fid on this one. You can make your own. There are paracord fids that you screw into the back of it. I'm using, I believe this is a little Samson fid kit. It works really good for this particular situation. So go ahead and pull that all the way through. What this is going to do is going to help start making that lock, and it's going to make the two tag ends become one. Oh, looks like I messed up on that one. It's okay, just do it again, push it in there, and as it goes through. When you make a brummel lock, now if you actually put enough tension on this diamond knot that it wants to pull itself out, we never will because it's just for flags. And it's 550 paracord. I think the cord will break before this knot will even break at this point. But I also think it also makes for a better looking end and a better tag end on the back side. Again, a lot of people will just say, hey, burn it. It's just paracord. You're not putting any strain on it. But I prefer to over-engineer everything. So there's one side of the brummel lock. Now remember, the other tag end must go through the other rope. So one side goes through one, and then the other side goes through the other, and this is what creates a lock. And what's neat about it is it does make the rope become one at this point. So we'll do it. Actually do it again. Push the fid through. And then we'll just take the rope, put it in the fid, and we'll push it through and finish off this brummel lock. You could probably do this back and forth and weave it all the way up if you wanted to. That would be one way of finishing this off, and that would definitely give it stability to keep the knot from collapsing in on itself. But I believe one brummel lock looks pretty good, and it cinches it in on itself right there. So you can actually see how that one goes through, and then the other one weaves around through that one. So let's go ahead and pull it in tight. Just make sure it's in there and locked. Now, when you look at it, what you're going to have is you're going to have one line coming out of that diamond knot. Now look how much better that looks just coming out of there. Instead of having two lines, you now have one because you've actually cinched them in together. But we don't want to leave the top, so what I like to do is actually just put a little whip locking on the end right there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start the whip lock. I like to go with the threads on the brummel lock and go with that back and forth. I would start it, make your weave, go back and forth a few times, and then bring it down, bring it up, put your whip lock on it. So we're going to go ahead and fast forward the entire whip lock. That'll be a whole nother video. I'll just assume that you know how to do the whip locking at this point. I do like to finish off my whip lock when I'm actually doing a soft shackle with a diamond knot on it, and I will actually take it and push it through the diamond knot itself and end out there in the loop. Is what I want to do. So I will push it all the way through, and when I get that there through the knot, I lock again, locking that knot in itself, plus I'm locking that whip lock into the diamond knot. This is going absolutely nowhere. Again, the line is going to break before this knot's going to break. It will not cinch in on itself. It will not pull through. The amount of strain that you'll have to put on it to go through this kind of a lock on the end for this soft shackle will be immense. But there again, you see me, I go right through the diamond knot itself. Make sure you come right through the same side, and then as I come out of the knot, right inside that loop, just bury it in, and now we can actually cut off that line right there. But of course, I go crazy with it. Put one or two more on it. Because I have thread, so I just go ahead and use it up. So that thread would have to come out of the line, through the diamond knot, through the whip lock, unravel itself to come out. It's not going anywhere. Now, I have one line coming out, a nice end on the very, right there on the very end. I've got a nice lock going on, a nice whip locking, but I still have this long tag in. So now, it's very much time to just cut off the excess. We don't need that excess anymore. So, just, very little. You don't need much of a tag in there. Go ahead and cut right across the whipping. And now you have a tag end that will not pull through that diamond knot. That diamond knot is 100% secured. I do like to just take off a little bit of the top and make sure that it's smooth, because even when you cut it, there's still a few strands up there, so I'll usually just burn those off. And I do like leaving the tag end fluffy. I don't put a really hard melt on it because it's not coming apart. And there you guys go. A soft shackled paracord, and made exactly to the same length as the one before, so you can match them up. Diamond knot, followed by a brummel lock, followed by a whip lock stitching. That is one heavy duty soft shackle. Oh, but the flags are flying. I love it. With the soft shackles, nice and quiet.